Over the years, I've had tons of students ask me what resources I personally used to score 175 on the LSAT. Back when I started off, my scores were in the low 150s and stayed there for far too long. Over the course of what ended up being an entire year, I did every single released LSAT practice test. There were roughly 40 of them at the time. Most of them were in those actual official LSAT prep test books available on Amazon for roughly $20 each. However, this was nearly 20 years ago. A lot has changed. There's a lot of other resources out there available now. And so I'm going to walk through what are some of the most common LSAT resources used by students today, as well as my thoughts on each of them. Of course, the LSAT prep tests themselves, while they're still available on Amazon in books of 10 for about $20 each, a lot has changed. LSAC has renumbered the exams for the new LSAT format because logic games are no longer on the test. They have updated the exams in Law Hub Advantage, which you can get online at lsac.org. You can get nearly 60 exams in the new format for roughly $119 per year, and you can also get them for free with an LSAC fee waiver. You can still get the books on Amazon in the new format, but they are way more expensive. And of course, since the LSAT is online, it's best to prep for the LSAT online as well, which is why I recommend Law Hub Advantage, and why, although the LSAT Trainer by Mike Kim is a very popular LSAT book available on Amazon, it's sadly a bit out of date now. While the principles of logic are timeless, the LSAT continues to change and evolve, and the LSAT Trainer still devotes hundreds of pages to logic games, which are no longer on the test. And so, of course, you don't want to waste time studying for an LSAT question type that isn't going to be on the LSAT that you're taking. And while, of course, you could just skip the portions of the book about logic games, the thing is that a lot of outdated prep materials give a bit more focus on formal logic than they otherwise would have if logic games were not on the test. And so now that the logic game section has been replaced with a second scored section of logical reasoning, the LSAT Trainer by Mike Kim is not where you want to be spending your time, since most of logical reasoning is informal logic. And while there are roughly 15 different types of logical reasoning questions, I find that far too many students using books like the LSAT Trainer tend to focus on drilling LSAT questions by type, when it is just as important, if not more important, to make sure that you develop a solid understanding of the method of reasoning in the stimulus. Which brings me to the next LSAT resource, Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a free online platform that covers lots of different standardized tests, not just the LSAT, but LSAC partnered with them to create an LSAT prep course online for free. Sadly, however, LSAC shut this down and stopped updating it a couple of years ago, and now they're pulling all of that into the Law Hub system where they're charging for subscriptions. Some of the material is available for free, luckily, but most of it's behind the paywall. LSAC wanted to bring everything into one centralized hub, which is why they shut down the Khan Academy and instead put those drill sets and explanations and lessons inside Law Hub instead. Now, of course, with a platform like Khan Academy or the LSAT Trainer or Law Hub, there's nobody you can ask questions to, no one who can give you guidance or talk you through the way that you're thinking about the questions, which brings me to my LSAT prep company, LSAT Unplugged. We offer live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching programs, and private, personalized, highly tailored one-on-one LSAT coaching programs. If you're aiming to score 170 or above on your official LSAT whenever you're taking it, you can check out the links below this video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And now finally, a lot of students are using companies like Kaplan and Princeton Review. Back when I was studying for the LSAT, I spent a bit of time using these books. The problem was they weren't using real, actual official LSAT questions because they didn't want to pay the licensing fees to LSAC. And I've written about 10 of my own actual unofficial LSAT logic games, and I can tell you, it's really hard to write valid LSAT style questions. It took me 5 to 6 hours to write even a single LSAT style logic game, and I've been doing this now for nearly 20 years. I know it's a good LSAT question. I know it's a bad LSAT question, and the problem is these fake LSAT questions are unrealistic, and worse, they oftentimes contain mistakes. And there's nothing worse than trying to do an LSAT question only to realize the problem is not with you. The problem is with the people who wrote the questions. If you look online at reviews of these books on Amazon, LSAT for Dummies is, by the way, another terrible one. Never use it if you want a top LSAT score. Instead, stick with the real deal, the actual official LSAT questions published by LSAC, available on Law Hub, or if you're taking the LSAT on paper with accommodations, the books are also a good way to go. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.